Welcome to part 4 of Don't Say Schwarzenegger. Today, I kind of wanted to go through a little bit what happened after the hospital, after the assaults, after the hospital, and hopefully I'll be able to start leading into the preliminary criminal trial that began about 8 months after the assault happened. But I did want to touch upon something that I forgot to mention when I was describing the entire melee assault, all that stuff in part 2. I don't even know. But I want to say that the employees of the Nice Guy, the bartender, the doorman, the barback, I'm not exactly sure of their job titles. I just know, like, for example, one of the guys in the security footage that we see of them assaulting the men. There's no security footage of my assault that was made available to us. That's how I'll word it. But in the videos of the other people being assaulted, you can see like employees running out of the Nice Guy, and one had like a little white rag out of his back pocket, so I assumed he was either a bartender or a barback or something like that, but clearly an employee. The doorman, big guy, he ran out, all of them trying to de-escalate the situation as best they could, like pulling, like trying to stay in between, pulling attackers off of people, never taking a swing or anything, and they were getting shoved and thrown around too. And I kudos to them for trying to de-escalate it in the best way they knew how. I remember when I got put into the ambulance, the very last memory before I lost consciousness again was I was laying in the stretcher inside the ambulance. The two back doors were open. The paramedics were inside with me doing something, who knows. And as they went to go close the doors, all of a sudden a hand sticks through, and it was the doorman, big guy, don't know his name, but he stuck his arm through and was like, wait, and he's like, I just want to make sure you're okay, and just so you know, like, he was like all out of breath and everything, and he's like, just so you know, I just chased them down, and like I took photos of all their license plates as they tried to speed away, so I got that, you're gonna be okay. And I just it meant a lot. And I remember like my skull was like falling apart, and I just remember being really grateful for that, and I still am. So thank you to that man, whoever he was. Some people do the right thing sometimes. And I also want to make clear that the employees, the ones working their shifts that night, the manager, the barback, the doorman, they were all incredible in the way they handled it. That has nothing to do with the owners of the Nice Guy, Peter Corral. That's going to be an entire part in itself once I get to start talking about where the money has been hidden, and like when I start touching upon what a fraudulent transfer is and stuff like that. So we'll get to that. That comes down a little bit towards civil. So as of now, you guys, I've touched upon, that there's Schwarzenegger's business partners are involved, that their daughter's boyfriend, possible fiance, is involved. That's a whole nother thing too. But I've had about 20 people reach out to me over the last 6 months and the last weekend saying, hey, I've heard that they're engaged or secretly married now. So that's interesting. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'll find out. But it's just interesting, all these people, like we have Ray. I mean, first of all, Jack Nicholson's son, A-list movie star, Jack Nicholson's son, Ray, who looks just like him. He stars in Amazon Prime movies and stuff like that. Shows he was in the first 5 minutes of the movie Promising Young Woman, and it's almost like he's playing himself. You got to watch the first 5-10 minutes of Promising Young Woman, because Ray, you can tell which one he is. He's sitting at the bar with the antagonist, and he's just acting like this, like, yeah, man, go hit it, go take advantage of that girl. Like, man, did they even give him a script, or did he just like wing it and ad-lib it when he went in? Because it is so, I love that movie so much, and it really, like, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies watching that first 5 minutes, because I'm like, damn, am I the promising young woman? And is this like art imitating life, or life imitating art? Because gross. So it's just interesting. We have these big names involved, and I still haven't even gotten to the rest of the big names, but this is what I found out later that nobody told us. But it's interesting because one of the people that was helping us out with like doctor's appointments and like communicating with the LAPD and stuff like that, because we were all too injured to do so ourselves, I found an email. And this is what the person said in the email that we were talking about trying to coordinate stuff in the week right after the assault. Says, LAPD said that Harvey Levin doesn't want to publicize this because it's bad publicity for them. And Also, it doesn't involve any celebs, so no one's gonna care. So interesting. Because they reached out to me and I never asked them first. They reached out to me, and on multiple occasions they had said they were going to do a story and that they were going to pump this into the atmosphere so that the public would know, so we could get justice. They said that they offered to do that, and I was like, that is so amazing. Wow, TMZ, everyone's going to see it. And then they didn't. And I remember I was like talking to Charles Latibido, the executive producer, and at one point he was like, I was like, so how come you guys aren't going to post it? You haven't posted it yet. And I'm trying to be nice and like, And he says, yeah, and this is 2016, I believe, at this point. And he's like, yeah, it's just that there's a lot of, we're so busy. There's so much Trump stuff. So we're too busy. And I took it because at this point, I've been through so much at this point. I needed to trust people. So I was like doing mental gymnastics in my mind to be like, that sounds fair. That's legit. Yeah. Clearly, they only have one writer over there and one computer, and they're all sharing a phone. So I get it. This is probably, yeah, that makes sense. Totally legit. So I fell for that one. And he told me this over time, several times. I also want to get to, now we're kind of heading into the criminal trial that finally starts like 6-7 months later. Oh, and by the way, I want to just a ballpark number. I believe in the last, it was about 7 years between the assault and then the final day of the verdict of the civil trial, which was like years later. 7 years in there, and I want to say we probably had about 30 to 40 delays at the last second to delay hearings, delay everything. Probably 30 or 40, all done by the other side, by the defense. That they would delay everything. And so when I put together that list of all of their BS excuses, you're not going to know if you're going to want to laugh, scream, or cry when you hear it, and the fact that the system kept allowing it. One of the very first delays we had, I can't find it on any piece of paper, but I remembered it in my head. I can find it later. One of the first delays, it was in like August of 2015, summertime, and we were told that our hearing for everybody, all the victims, everybody, that it would have to be delayed because Sean Driz was attending a wedding somewhere. And I think it was like on location somewhere, not in LA. And so he had to go. And so they delayed it for him, for that. Just thought you'd want to know because, yeah, just get that one off my chest. Okay, so now we're kind of heading into the preliminary criminal trial, December 15th, 2015. One of the things we thought was really interesting was that the arrest, when Shapiro brought the defendants down to the LAPD to turn themselves in, get fingerprints, mugshots, and get out, they were there for no more than an hour. For crushed skulls and like crushed intestines, and we have video footage, we have witnesses, we have medical records, and they were in and out in less than an hour. Like, oh, here's a checkbook, whatever, and out. Like, how is that possible? Okay, so I broke down, I have about a stack of transcripts, which is about maybe like a foot or so high. It's 1,100 pages of the criminal trial. And so I've read it 4 times through, and every single time I read it once through, and then the second time I started breaking it down into notes. And so I would and I've done that for every single transcript, every deposition, everything. So I have a lot of notes, and that's how I remember a lot of this stuff. And a lot of the stuff I have, the bullet points of I'll be like, oh, that's a contradiction, that's a lie, that's perjury. So I write all those down, and I have it in note form. But then I also have a lot of stuff where if it's an important quote that I want to repeat to you guys, I wrote it down verbatim and everything with the page number and the line number and all that stuff. So I'm just, I'm not just, just pulling stuff out of the air. This is where I got it from, and fact check me, go for it. But so when the trial said, oh, damn it, okay, it's 9:20. All right, I guess we're going to do the criminal trial. We'll do that on part 5, which I'm going to try to do today. I didn't post for the last day and a half because I needed to be in a fetal position and just turn my brain off. So thank you guys again so much. It's been insane seeing all your comments and everything. It fuels me. So thank you, and I'll be back.